Okay, class, so I'm just picking up where we left off today. We're going to talk about social networks. I want to talk a little bit about Facebook, which is the big gorilla in the room. A pretty good friend of mine was, until very recently, running two of the largest advertising categories for all of Facebook. And he told me that there are about 6 million advertisers, smaller advertisers for the most part, that use the Facebook self-serve platform. No Facebook employee gets involved in any way with the business. And the platform, I'm not going to click to it right now, the platform basically takes the advertising customer through a series of decision trees, helping them, are they doing branding or direct response? What's their objective? Is it awareness? Is it sales? Is it getting more information? Then it asks them to define their target, ask them for a budget, and all these 6 million customers just do all this on their own. And that's it. They never talk to anybody. About 800 bigger accounts are actively managed by Facebook's salespeople. In fact, 3 full-time Facebook employees work with Google. And by the way, I'm sorry, that's my bloody phone, which is mostly called by people who want to sell me things, so I apologize in advance. Now, the Russian bear is there because that's how the Russians, agents of the Russian government, got onto Facebook and bought advertising, and nobody knew it. The only way they could track the Russian accounts was that they were the ones that paid in rubles. And of course, the danger with Facebook and other social networks is that anyone out there can post and reach millions of users with no filter. Now, this is in terms of running ads. This is also in terms of piping in some kind of content. By the way, an example of a whole new media world is just our president, who's able to communicate directly with tens of millions. I don't know if he has 80 million followers. It's a huge number. He communicates directly to them with Twitter. So Abraham Lincoln had to mail a letter to a newspaper publisher, who published it, and eventually sent it out to the subscribers. Other presidents in the past had to give interviews to TV stations and reporters or whatever to get the word out, or have press conferences. And then you're subject to however the press is going to alter or comment on what you say. Not with our president. He goes direct to his followers. This is a major asset of his, and he's winning his election. But because there is no filter, it means that it's possible for evil content, I'm going to say evil content, to be broadcast to lots and lots of people on these social networks. And you'll remember we talked about the definition of the word medium, I think, very early on when we first started talking about it. Remember, it's something that's in between two things. Well, the medium is the Facebook page. We're on one side reading. The question is who's on the other side sending. And does anybody know what this is a picture of? It's a picture of Alice through the looking glass. And she goes to the other side of the looking glass in the second book of Alice's Adventures. So we have to ask ourselves, this model of medium being between two things, we're on one side, who's on the other side, and what do they want? And we really have to ask that when there's no filter and the people on the other side just have a plain glass to send it through with nobody editing or censoring the words. And you guys are as familiar with marketing on social networks as anyone. Email, I know you're pretty familiar with that too. It's very effective to reach your current customers. because you have their email addresses. And look at the cost; it's almost nothing. And this is why there's so much clutter in our email inboxes. So email is another way to communicate. Very effective, very cheap, lots of clutter. How do you stand out? Now, within all this, buying ads, whether they're banners or rich media, or whether it's video, there's a whole new way of buying ads on the internet that's kind of reared its head in the last 4 or 5 years, and it's growing pretty significantly. It's called programmatic buying. And what this is sites make a certain amount of their inventory available for anyone who wants to bid on it for sort of the highest bid. And this is all done by computer programs. So American Airlines puts in its demographic, and how much it'll pay is on a cost per thousand basis now, everybody, not cost per click. This is cost per thousand. And all this goes into the computer, and then the websites who are available and will accept the cost per thousand that American Airlines is willing to pay will take and run the advertising. And then based on whatever impressions they generate, they'll be paid by American Airlines. A little problem that comes up from time to time. This happened when I was working with Choice Hotels. Sometimes Choice Hotels is selling ads on some of its website, some of its web pages, and a competitive hotel can sneak in there. So you really do have to monitor who shows up via your programmatic buying. And this shows you the growth in programmatic display advertising in 2013 and then projected 2019. It's up to well over $45 billion. And by the way, this programmatic buying is being applied just the way measurability was applied, also starting with the internet. Programmatic buying is being applied to magazines and definitely to TV, even out of home, where the media companies make their inventory available, and clients go in and put in bids on a cost per thousand basis, and the buy just happens over the computer. There's no salesperson, there's no proposal. That's just the way it happens. These are some of the issues with internet media. Fraud, robo-clicks on ads, false clicks, hacking, of course, privacy. Monopolies is an issue because it's been said that Google, Facebook, and Amazon are really monopolies and are stifling competition from smaller companies that might be trying to start up. And they're also doing unfair competitive practices where Google will favor its own products or its own services over other competitors, and so it'll, within its platform, it will give preference to its own products, that kind of thing. Then, of course, the issue of false content. Now, some of these issues are issues that we will be talking about in the next phase of our class. Strengths and weaknesses. Well, what do you think? There's a lot of flexibility. There's demographic and psychographic micro-targeting. I think Facebook has something like, 1,000 different segments you can target. You can get high reach because internet usage is very high. And then there's this measurability. But as we saw, the measurability, and as we discussed, of impressions can be a little iffy. And by the way, so can the measurability of clicks, because it's possible for robots to do fake clicks, and fake sites generate fake clicks through programmatic buying, by the way, and then get paid programmatically when it wasn't really even a site, didn't really run the advertising. Those people are out there trying to figure out how to beat the system all the time. Weaknesses of internet advertising: irritation, clutter, changing metrics. And now our last media type is mobile marketing. The first mobile ad ran in the early 90s. And then the first advertising would start to appear a little after that. SMS, as I said, was very early. So this is the latest medium, really, and it is where everything else seems to be drifting. Huge growth rate. It's a unique media form. It's always with us. There's really nothing else that we, in history, that we've always had with us and are always looking at, because our business is on it and our personal lives are on it, on the darn phone. It's the way we access information. People check their mobile device up to 150, 200 times a day. And this was very quickly the progress in the development of different media in the U.S., and mobile was the latest. Here's a little history of mobile. iPhone and Android. It's one big market segmentation. Here's ad spending from 2015 to projected 2021. And you can see it's now projected to be over $100 billion. And these are formats. The blue is display, so banners, video. The black is search, etc., etc. And now here, once again, we got the same story by company. This shows the years. Blue is 2016 up to 2019 projected in red. And Google and Facebook are sucking up way more than one would ever think in terms of mobile ad revenue. Here's an interesting chart I got from the Interactive Advertising Bureau. I did some training with them. That's the Trade Association for Interactive Media. And this shows, the blue column shows time spent kind of with the device or looking at it or listening to it. And the red column shows the percent of ad spending. So what you see is that on the right, people don't spend a lot of time looking at magazines, but it still gets a big share of ad spending. So it gets a larger share of ad spending than the amount of time, than the time share of people spending with it. And mobile's the opposite. People spend a lot more time with mobile, but it gets a much smaller share of ad spend, suggesting that there's a lot of growth to come here for ad spending. When you are trying to figure out what to do with mobile, you want to connect it with the rest of your communication strategy and have it fit into the purchase funnel. And so you'll have, mostly it's going to be winning new customers, but it might also be building loyal customers. Here are some of the questions you'd ask yourself as you work mobile into your plan. How is the target already using mobile? What's the consumer looking for in your category? What's their mindset in terms of buying? What are they doing? What's the environment? What kind of content are they searching for? How are other brands in your category enabling customer action? Mobile is growing the fastest, up to 13-something billion projected. Now, we talked a little bit today in class about how to run an effective mobile ad. You have to start with your most captivating elements, incorporate your brand message and identity early. Always, always, always with any video, whether it's on TV or on your phone, look at it with the sound off. Your story needs to be told visually. Add captions or words or text to it if you have to, but it needs to work with the sound off. Make it as short as it can be, as long as it needs to be, and you can test. This is a little piece from the IAB on mobile video impressions. So you can just read it, and to count as a video ad impression, 2 continuous seconds of the video is played, meeting the same pixel requirement necessary, meaning how much of the ad you see. Doesn't have to be the first 2 seconds or whatever. So as soon as you look at 2 seconds of an ad, you count it as an impression. What does that tell you? And of course, with mobile, you can do this amazing location-based marketing. Deliver content to a user based on his or her geographic location with mobile. And we know, even from our first class when we talked about the sensors in stores, that your location is being tracked